All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Here's my review of this album by Pride of Lions, which came out yesterday. In case you didn't see this, I understand. I have a blog. I don't use it often, but when something comes out that's really, really good, I occasionally will do a review. With each passing day, this kind of music disappears from radio formats that are beginning to move past the valuable relics from the 1970s and 80s. There are still some radio formats time-traveling 40 or even 50 years, whether it be a Motown song or a one-hit wonder that has survived to speak to us now, but it's clear the sounds of 2020 are devoid of the soul and well-thought-out melodies of days gone by. So when an album like Lionheart comes out, with a genius writer, producer, and arranger, and one of the top vocalists on the melodic scene today, it's an extra special event. So if you're a fan of Survivor, or Foreigner, or even Journey, and maybe even Styx, Pride of Lions is something you should probably give a listen to. Jim Peterik, okay, I'll continue on. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's done so much for rock music starting way back in the 1960s with a band you might remember called Ides of March. Vehicle was their big hit song. Jim has remained devoted to the sound he created in the band Survivor. Pride of Lions is an organic extension of what Peterik pioneered nearly 40 years ago. Whereas some of the Pride of Lions albums were only somewhat derivative of the Survivor template, Lionheart fully embraces it. It's as if Peterik has decided to throw the entire kitchen sink at the music establishment, hoping it will wake from its eternal slumber. All I can tell you, I'm not going to read the rest of this review, but this album from start to finish embodies the kind of music that we all grew up listening to. The vocalist is absolutely amazing. If you've not heard his work before in Pride of Lions, his name is Toby Hitchcock. He will blow your mind. He is reminiscent of all those bands I told you about, like Styx. He's a bit like Dennis DeYoung at times. He's a bit like Jimmy Jameson at times. And when you start to put people in that category, you know, you're talking super greatness here. What bothers me, and I just did a video about Blue Oyster Cult, and it's the same problem, is that, yes, I've heard, you know, like Eddie Trunk and other people say, well, this is a project band. It could be a project band, but it doesn't have to be a project band. You don't think that Jim Peterik couldn't get a bunch of guys to go out on the road? And by the way, everybody is a project band in the year 2020. All right, so it's kind of dumb to throw that criticism out there. When you've got a genius songwriter like Peterik and a genius vocalist like Hitchcock. And by the way, Jim Peterik sounds great on this album. I interviewed the guitarist who worked on this record, and he loves working with these guys. And I'm sure if the band ever went out on the road here in the United States, they would have the musical chops to pull it off. I mean, this is great music. And again, it came out yesterday. It's not an event you're going to hear about. It's not going to be on Ultimate Classic Rock or blabbermouth.net. I saw one publication called Brave World, I think it was, that put out an article about the release of this record. But this is classic rock. This is instant classic rock. You press play, and then you're going to hear classic rock songs, classic rock vocals, great guitar solos, great drumming. The whole thing is just a perfect album from start to finish. I gave this album, I think, like a 9.9 was my rating. And yeah, it's generous. The reason it's generous is because there's not much out there that sounds like this. So again, if you're a fan of Foreigner, Styx, Journey, I don't know, REO Speedwagon maybe, but it's it's Pride of Lions, and certainly more Survivor than anything else. The Eye of the Tiger, the Pride of the Lion, you can kind of see the connection there. But this is the kind of music that is not being made anymore. And, Jim Peterik, he's getting up there in years. I don't know how long he's going to do this for. He's singing great, which is very interesting because his vocals have actually gotten better over time. But the true great vocalist on this record, no offense to Jim, is Toby Hitchcock, who, could sing the phone book and you'd be happy. You'd sit there and you'd listen. You'd go, yep, I like this. I like this phone book. So check it out, please. It's courtesy of my friends at Frontiers Music, just like the Blue Oyster Cult album is courtesy of Frontiers Music. Again, I tend to think that American rock media has something against promoting stuff on the Frontiers label. I haven't figured that out, but if I do, I will let you know why that is. But in the meantime, go search it out yourself. At least give it a stream or two on your usual platforms like YouTube and Spotify. And then, if you're over on Patreon, tell me what you think. All right, I'm done with this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I mentioned Patreon. Hit the bell for notifications on new videos, and I will see you soon.